Today, I want to share a story with you. It's a really personal one from a teacher that completely pulls back the curtain on a world that most of us, honestly, never even see. It's a lesson that makes you question a really basic assumption, that if someone is quiet, they must be comfortable.
So let's just start with this question right here. Really think about it. What if the quietest person in the room isn't actually at peace? What if their stillness is hiding a reality that we can't even begin to imagine? This is the idea at the very heart of what we're talking about today.
Now, to really understand this story, we have to get our heads around a key concept: sensory processing difference. Basically, it's when the brain has a tough time handling all the information coming in from our senses. For some kids with autism, this can totally change how they experience things we take for granted, like pain, touch, or even just knowing where their body is in space.
And that brings us to a classroom, and a story that explains this idea way better than any definition ever could. So let's try to step into this teacher's shoes for a minute and hear about a boy in a sandpit.
The teacher remembers him so clearly. He was 10, a quiet, gentle soul, and as she said, different in his own beautiful way. He was one of those kids who didn't always need words to show you what he was feeling. At his school, they had a sandpit, and for this boy, that sandpit was everything. It wasn't just a playground, it was his sanctuary. The teacher knew it calmed him down, so she let him take little breaks there. It was a safe space, you know?
So one afternoon, he had his usual break in the sandpit. He came back into the classroom, sat right down at his desk, and just got on with his work for the rest of the day. Everything seemed totally, 100% normal. And this right here is the crucial part of the story. The entire afternoon, he didn't show a single sign that anything was wrong. No tears, no complaining, he wasn't even fidgeting. If you looked at him, you'd think he was the picture of calm and focus. But as the school day was wrapping up, that whole picture of calm was about to be just shattered. The teacher was about to find out just how big the gap was between what she was seeing and what her student was actually going through.
She walks over to his desk to check on his work, and she glances at his face and just freezes. Her heart absolutely drops, because there inside his eyes, there was sand, a lot of it. He had been sitting there for hours, literally with sand covering his eyeballs.
Just look at this disconnect. Think about it for a second. If you get one tiny little grain of sand in your eye, it's agonizing, right? You're wincing, rubbing it, complaining to anyone who will listen. But him? His actual reaction was nothing, just quiet stillness as he kept on working.
0. That number says it all. He showed 0 signs of pain. The physical proof of what should have been extreme discomfort was right there for anyone to see. But his sensory world, it just wasn't sending out the alarm bells that ours would. His sensory world was playing by a completely different set of rules. So as the teacher was gently washing the sand out of his eyes, she had this huge realization. What we see on the outside as behavior is just the tip of the iceberg. The real story is so often happening underneath, in a sensory reality that we have to really try to understand. This whole experience led her to these 5 huge lessons. 1. Never ever assume silence equals comfort. 2. You have to observe more than you listen. 3. Genuinely work to understand sensory differences. 4. Make sure those safe sensory breaks exist. Don't take them away. And 5. When you see something like this, respond with compassion, not with shock. Okay, let's look a little closer at that second point. Observe more than you listen. What does that really mean? It means you're looking for the silent clues. You're watching their facial expressions, their body language. You're noticing things like red eyes, or an unusual stillness, or a sudden change in their routine. These are the signals that can tell you so much more than words. And this really gets to the heart of it. That boy wasn't being careless by getting sand in his eyes, and he wasn't being strange for not reacting. His nervous system just works differently, that's it. And when we can really truly get that, we can start to replace judgment with compassion. And so we get to the final, really powerful takeaway from this teacher's story. It's this moment of clarity that goes way beyond a classroom. It's about how we see each other, period. So that day, cleaning the sand from his eyes, it became a metaphor for something so much bigger. For her, it was about cleaning her own lens, washing away her own assumption that everybody experiences the world the same way she does. And that is such a powerful reminder for all of us that real understanding, it only begins when we're willing to look beyond what we expect to see.